Okay, so on number one, here's how it goes. This is called, there's different kinds of factoring. This is called three-term factoring or trinomial factoring. That's pretty much all we're doing today. So it factored, if it does factor, it's going to be in two parentheses, kind of like we're unfoiling it. So on the front of the parentheses, it's what multiplies to get this first term. What times what equals that? B times B. So there's going to be B's on the front. On the back, this is where the trick comes. What multiplies into 7, that adds up to 8. 7 and 1. 7 and 1 multiply to 7, that times that, and they add up to 8. So in here we're going to put, since they're both positive, plus 7 plus 1. Okay, does the order matter of the parentheses? Okay, no, order of multiplication does not matter. There was something else I was going to say. What was it? Oh, how could I check my answer? Foil. It doesn't foil back to this. Okay, if you answered the question correctly, what multiplies into this that adds up to this? I mean, it's going to be right, but you could always foil it if you weren't sure. See if it goes back to that. Number 3.
And that's just the answer, so like there's nothing left.
Yep, that's it right there.
What if it's a negative number? Like
Like
negative 8?
number 3, you mean?
Like number 2? Because it's negative 1. Yeah, like negative.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. So on this one, what's going to go in the front? Shh. What goes in the front? Okay. For the back, what multiplies into negative 90, that adds up to, what's right there? 1. What multiplies into negative, what's the first thing that you think of when, what could multiply to 90? 10 and 9. Okay, because it's negative 90 though, to multiply to get a negative, one of these has to be negative. Which of these needs to be negative to add up to positive 1? The 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Or 10 plus negative 9 is 1. So it's a positive 10 and a negative 9.
You were singing that 5 minutes ago.
Okay, and so we're going to start with n and n. What multiplies into 9 that adds up to negative 10? So there's only two options that go into 9. 9 times 1 and 3 times 3. Which of these add up to negative 10?
9 and 1.
Well, 9 and 1 add up to positive 10. So,
Negative 9 and negative 1.
right. Negative 9 and negative 1 also multiply to positive 9, but they add up to negative 10. So negative 9, negative 1. Just in case I forget, one of the evens is not factorable. Our book calls it prime, but you can just write not factorable. Yeah.
That's scary.
Ugly.
Soy scoop, my grandma.
Okay. So this one would be what multiplies into negative 24. There's a lot of stuff that goes into negative 24. It could be negative 8 and 3. Could be 8 and negative 3. Could be 6 and negative 4. Negative 6 and 4. 2 and negative 12. Negative 2 and 12. 24 and 1. I'm going to skip that one. Which of these, however, there's only one of these that adds up to positive 2. Which adds up to positive 2? 6 and negative 4. So plus 6 minus 4. these assignments are a lot easier if you're good with your times tables and adding in your head. If you have to use a calculator, you can, but it makes it hard. What's the first thing you think of, like from your times tables? What goes into 40? 8 times 5. Does that add up to 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's negative 13, we're going to use negative 8 and negative 5. By the way, if I was to do this, make that a negative 40, that would not be factorable. Do you guys know why? Because one of these would have to be positive and it would no longer, to multiply to a negative, one of these would be positive and it wouldn't factor anymore. Anyways, 11. Okay, what multiplies into 56?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Okay, since it's negative 56, one of them would have to be negative.
Negative
I want it to add up to negative 1, so which of these should be negative? The 8. So it's positive 7 minus 8.
Yep.
How do you feel?
Me too.
What multiplies to 8 that would could add up to negative 6? Right. 1 and 8, 2 and 4. 2 and 4 add up to 6, but also negative 2 and negative 4 add up to negative 6. So okay, what changed on 15?
2.
Numbers.
There's a number on the front term. Does anybody know what we can do?
Divide by 2.
Okay, you can't divide by 2.
Oh.
You're kind of right, but if this was an equation, you could divide both sides by 2 and just get rid of the 2. But since it's not an equation, we can't just throw out a 2 because that would change the value. But what we can do is take a 2 out. Okay, tomorrow we'll talk more about this. Take stuff out was another way we learned to factor. If we take a 2 out, that means we're dividing a 2 out, but we're not throwing it away, we're just putting it on the side here. So if I divide all these terms by 2, it's kind of like the opposite of the distributive property. Instead of multiplying the number in, you're dividing it out. But don't throw it away, it's got to stay out there. Okay, it's possible that's the only factoring you could do, but probably the thing in parentheses will factor again. So notice I kept my 2 right there. And now it's kind of like the other problems. So what multiplies into negative 54? You guys remember your 9s?
6.
9 times 6. Okay, how do I make 9 and 6 add up to 3?
Minus 6.
Minus on the 6. Okay, so it's getting a little bit harder. 15 was the first one like that. Do you guys see any other problems where you could take stuff out?
16.
By the way, do you know why I couldn't take anything out in the first 13 or whatever, 14? There is no number up here. So taking one out is like doing nothing. So you can't take anything out of these. There's no B over here. You can't take a B out. Anyway, 16 you can take something out. Anything else?
12.
No. 12 you can take a 7 out of the last. This. Notice it starts counting at 11 again. It goes 15, 16, 11, 12. Because I put two assignments together. 12, you can take a 7 out of the last two, but you can't take it out of the first term, so you can't take anything out. There is another problem that you can take something out on.
Does
Can't
does
figure
16 count? Well, actually,
Anybody see it?
I think we take
I'll let you guys find it then.
it.
Okay.
18.
It is 18.
Ha.
good
Uh,
job, Sharon.
You can take some out. 16, you don't necessarily have to do anything on 16, but it's a lot easier if you take a negative out on 16, like a -1, or you just put it as a negative. Because that will make your a squared term positive, and it just makes factoring a little bit easier. So it would, if you take a negative out, then you just have that on 16, and then try to factor it from there. It's like taking -1 out, basically. All right, back to, okay, we're going from 15 to 11, because the page is screwed up, so. Okay, can we take anything out on 11? No. We've already identified everything you can take out, every problem you can take something out on. So this is the harder version, 11, this section, 11 on down. It kind of works the same though. When there's a number on the front, it makes it harder. What goes into 4n squared? What times what equals 4n squared? Okay, it could be 2n and 2n, or it could be 4n times n. So I'm not sure right now. We're just going to try 2n and 2n and see if it works. And if not, if it doesn't end up working, we're going to have to go back and change it. Okay, for the back, what goes into -25? Well, maybe 1, 5, and 1, -5, right? Or it could be 25 and -1, that's possible. Let's try 5 and -5. Okay, but you're no longer saying that adds up to this, because the way you get the middle term now is basically foiling, but you don't have to do the whole foil. You could, but that'd be extra work. You can just do the outside and inside foil and see if that gives you the middle term. Because we've already set it up so we'll get this and this. So we just need to see if the outside and inside give us this middle term. If it does, we got it right. If not, we got to try something else. Okay, the outside right now is giving me -10n, and the inside is giving me +10n. And if I add those together, 0, not -15n. So that's not right. I could also, now switching the 5s on this won't really matter because they're already 5s. So I could also try like 1 and 25 or 25 and 1. If I do 25, that'll be like -50 plus 2. No, that doesn't work. Switching doesn't matter because there's just a 2 over here. So none of that worked. So now what am I going to try? Right, 5 and 5 didn't work, 25 and 1 didn't work. So I have to go back and look at these n's. If 2n and 2n doesn't work, what else might work? 4n times n, yes. And it will work. What goes into 25? 5 and -5. One's got to be negative, right? To multiply to -25. So now my outside is -20 when I foil, and my inside is plus 5.
You're so hilarious.
That adds up to negative 15, right? Negative 20 plus 5 is negative 15. So this is the right answer. By the way, if I had my plus and minus backwards, I would have got positive 15n instead of negative. So if your plus and minus is backwards, you get the right number, but it's the opposite. So that just means you have to switch to plus and minus if that happens. So it's still good news if you get that. All right, anyway, that's
I have a question.
yeah.
So you said there's only one non-factor.
It's even and it's on the front page too.
Okay. So one's what?
There's one that doesn't factor, just put like not factorable. And it's even, it's on the front page.
Oh wait. Wait, what? Oh wait.
Okay. 13, same deal. Well, since the last one was 4n and 1n, I might guess 2n and 2n. However, I'm looking right here. I need to get 17. You know what multiplies really close to 17?
4 and 5.
4 and 4.
4 and 4.
So instead of going 2n and 2n, let's try 4n and n. So I'm keeping my 4s is basically what I'm doing. And then what multiplies into 4 here? Okay, 2 and 2 or 1 and 4, right? Let me do it wrong first. Let's do it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, if I do the outside here, that's 4n, and the inside is 4n. That adds up to 8n, so that's not right. So do I have to try 2 and 2 now? No. What you really should try next is 1 and 4, switching the 1 and the 4. Because now my outside is what? 16n. And my inside is 1n. Which makes 17n. Is that what I wanted? No. Well, I'm going for a negative, so I should have been using negatives this whole time, not positives, but it's okay. If you get the right number, but the wrong sign, you just need to switch these. So now it should work.
People do this in the Philippines.
People do what?
This in the Philippines.
What about it?
People do it.
Okay. Every country does pretty much the same now.
I didn't know that.
Right. What do you mean?
Like she sent me a picture of
They
the
think they're uneducated or something?
No,
Who do you know lives in the Philippines?
Wait, it's not that. Someone hasn't.
What do you think you were like a Japanese person?
Yeah, we're going to Italy.
They did this last year.
Who's stopping us?
Jalapeno.
They did this last year.
I know, but I think they have this in like.
We did it. It was 2 years ago when we last did this. We didn't do it in geometry really. Maybe barely.
I remember this, but I don't remember it from because I remember the part where we were like,
We maybe did it once or twice.
No, wait, no.
Okay.
well, they asked me.
So, if we're starting with 6x squared, what could we put in the front? 2 and 3. Now, if I was just guessing, I would guess 2x and 3x. However, when I look up here, I see a 37. You know what multiplies really close to a 37? 6 and 6. So instead of 3 and 2, let's try 6 and 1. So it's kind of 13 and 15 are kind of the same. What goes into 6? Well, it could be 3 and 2, but we're going to use 6 and 1. And I want to make sure the 6's get matched. So I'm going to put the 6 over here. So the outside is 36. And the inside is 1. Okay, if you're not sure, it's okay if you can't tell what's gonna happen. You just have to kind of plug stuff in and see what works. But the way you check it is outside 6 times 6x plus inside. So that is 37x.
Does the outside and the inside work for all the problems that you're doing?
Okay, technically those first 16 questions we did, you could do that, but there's really not a need. When there's no number on the front, what makes these harder is when there's a number up here. So that's when you have to do the FOIL, like make sure that gives you this. So I don't know if you remember, but like on number 1, we were doing what multiplies into this that adds up to that. Here I didn't say that. I just said what multiplies into 6. Put it down here and then check the FOIL, see if it gives me that. So 1 through 6, the first 16 questions were a lot easier. These are trickier. 17. This is the last one already. Time flies when you're having fun, am I right?
Literally, it's so.
Dude, this is fun. I cannot imagine having fun.
How's it with 20?
You know what, Olivia, for saying that,
No.
you're gonna help me on this problem.
You know what? You're a nerd. You're a nerd.
You should make Shannon do it. She's like making fun of people.
Which you would never do, right, Grant?
I would never tell someone that they should not.
Mr. Jordan makes fun of people more than what? You know what? I wouldn't say anything. Yeah, I would never.
Okay, shh, here we go. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't live with
Shh,
me.
shh, shh, shh.
We do 6 and 1.
You can try that. So you want to put 6 in and 1 in.
And they had to add it to -6.
Okay, no, it doesn't have, well,
Or does it multiply?
in the front, these two should multiply to this. In the back, these two should multiply to this. But to get the middle term, we have to see if the outside, inside FOIL adds up to the middle term. Okay, so we're just gonna guess. We're just gonna throw some stuff up there. What could multiply into -6? Okay, 6 and -1, that's one possibility. So if I do the outside, -6 in, inside +6 in, does that add up to 5 in? No. You shouldn't necessarily get rid of the 6 and 1 right away though. You should try and see whether it works the other way. Now the outside is 36 in. It's kind of like number 13. And the inside is -1 in, which adds up to 35. So that's not right either. So 1 and 6 doesn't work. What else might work right there? Okay, 3 and 2. So one of them would have to be negative though to multiply to -6. I'm just guessing. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if I got the negative backwards, you'll still get pretty much the right answer. You just have to flip it. Outside is -12 plus 3 is -9, so no. Okay, now the outside is 18 minus 2, which is 16, not that. Okay, so 1 and 6 didn't work, 2 and 3 didn't work, so guess what? No. Right, we guessed incorrectly on that. We've already used 6 in and in twice, so of course they're gonna do the other one. So, Shelby, what could go up here? 3 in and 2 in. Okay, we still need a guess on this one. I guess I could just drag one of these back. Which one do you want to try?
2, 3.
Okay, I think Shannon might have already done this one.
Why are you saying that it's way?
If you get good at this, you can kind of think ahead like what's going to happen, but it's kind of tricky. So now the outside is 9 in, inside is -4 in. Does that add up to 5n?
Yes.
Yes. That one's
Oh
right.
my goodness gracious.
So if you get lucky, you can get it on your first try.
I'm not.
You're not getting lucky.